This is not a ride-sharing video. I repeat, this is not a ride-sharing video. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy, Tim, the handsome liberal. As you see, the video is titled, "To the Shock of Perhaps No One." Anheuser-Busch, the parent company for Bud Light that recently sponsored a transgendered woman, is down $5 billion. That one company has lost $5 billion in revenue since March 31st. Just yesterday, Wednesday, their stocks were down 1.5% in one single day. What in the name of cancel culture is this? Why are Republicans, predominantly who's doing this, folks on the right, my beloved MAGA, join you amongst this crowd. Why are the folks on the right so anti-transgender? We'd have to suggest that. The individual that's being sponsored is named Mulvaney. Did anyone really know who this person was before this entire debacle? So it's not about the individual. It's about the sexual orientation or the lifestyle of the individual being sponsored by Budweiser. $5 billion in what amounts to a couple weeks. A couple weeks since March 31st. That company's value has went from, according to the numbers, $132.3 billion. Now it's 127.1. $5 billion, over $5 billion since March 31st. Another 1.5% as of yesterday. Looking in the comments as always, this program is and shall remain MAGA friendly in its entirety. MAGA are my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. What do I say in every broadcast? I do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. I respect your First Amendment free speech rights just as much as my own. The fact that you may disagree with the host never means a damn thing on this program. Give you plenty of time in the box to state your point without any fear of censorship. Looking in the comments, America been great forever, homie. Okay, I don't know if that question was asked, but fair enough. And by the way, if this is what you like, civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, follow the program. We're here every day, Monday through Friday. Nevertheless, Anheuser-Busch has exploited women to advertise their products. Not one time have they put their pick. I don't get the rest of that comment there. I don't give a fuck, but appreciate your input. Trump 2024 to save this country. Some would argue Ron DeSantis might do a better job at that. Laugh my ass off. Black Trump supporters are so delusional. He's racist as fuck, says X-Form. Elaborate. I hear that all the time that Trump is racist. Feel free to elaborate in the comments. We're going to go straight to the box, as I say all the time. There's no fear of being censored, blocked, or banned when you come on this program live. You don't have to agree with the host. It's not about that. It's about free speech. It's free speech without censorship. Let's keep it going. Big Ivy, welcome back to the program. What culture? What the hell is going on? Callan, appreciate your generosity. Callan 8, thank you. Big Ivy, good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going, my friend?
It's going good. $5 billion. Anheuser-Busch down $5 billion since March 31st. What the hell is going on?
Well, I think it was because it's shoved in your face. It's like the Tennessee shooter. Remember, it was a transgender come up, shot 3 kids and 3 adults.
Yeah.
And right after that, the press secretary came out there and she stated, "We stand with you, LGBTQ people," and all that, but not a word for the Christian kids that got killed. Not a word. And then Madonna, the same week, came out and said, "Well, I'm doing a show for the LGBT, but nothing for the people that were killed."
Well, so let me ask you, if let's say, for instance, a white person went out and did the same thing the transgender assailant did in Nashville, and somebody came out and said, "I stand by white people, and I'm going to do a show with white people next week," would you have the same amount of dislike towards them?
Nobody does that.
Let's say it
Nobody
happened, though.
stands with white
For
people.
shits and giggles, let's say it did happen. Would you have a problem with somebody saying, I stand by white people after someone white committed an act like that?
Yeah, when you put a race in something, yeah, that's racist.
Okay. So by saying I stand by the LGBT community, you're suggesting that you believe that means that they stand by LGBT folks who commit a heinous act like in Nashville?
And not say anything about the people that were killed, yeah, I think that's horrible.
Yeah, I agree what happened in Nashville is horrible, but are you blaming the LGBT community for what happened in Nashville?
No, I'm saying they should have some sympathy for them. And
You
they're
don't
going
think that
to
that's the
and they
case?
went
You
in
don't think?
and they went into the Tennessee Capitol and they was putting up seven fingers like the shooter was a victim. I thought, that's crazy too.
So you believe on for the most part the LGBT community after what happened in Nashville are more sympathetic to the
Shoot.
assailant. I'm trying not to use the actual term. So you believe they're more sympathetic to the assailant than the actual victims.
Yeah, I ain't heard a word. Have you?
Wow. I don't know if there is a spokesperson for the LGBT community. Do I believe that no one gay or no one lesbian cried or felt that that was awful and said anything? I mean, Anderson Cooper's gay. Don Lemon on CNN, he's gay. Shepard Smith, that used to be on Fox News, is gay. I'm pretty sure they had some choice words to say on their networks, but there is no sole representative for the LGBT community.
Yeah. I just
So,
haven't
so
heard it.
Yeah. So I definitely believe that there are tons of folks that are part of that community, LGBT community, that has spoken out about how horrible that is. But if you're not a person that really pays attention to that lifestyle, certainly if you have a problem with the transgender community, you're probably not watching any sort of LGBT correspondent on television at all. Like I mentioned, Shepard Smith, Don Lemon, Anderson, you're not going to watch those people. So if they do say something like what you're talking about, you're probably not going to hear it. And you think right-wing media is going to cover Anderson Smith, Anderson Cooper, or somebody crying about that? They're not going to even cover that. So it probably happened, but if you're in the right wing spirit of things, you're not going to hear about it.
Well, I ain't got a single problem with gay people. I love Elton John. I like the bunch of gay people.
I've never heard
but
it phrased. I've never heard it phrased like that. But go ahead.
I didn't mean it like that. But I ain't got a problem with gay people. But I ain't heard none of them come up and say, that was a terrible thing. That's all I
Where
was
are
going to put
you?
in.
Where are you at in terms of media or in terms of society that you would even hear anything from gay people? Do you have gay friends or anything like that?
Yeah, I've had a couple gay friends.
Do you
I've,
still
I've
talk
even
to
went
them?
out and seen a drag performance, at one of those clubs they got.
Okay. So are you still in communication with people that are from the LGBT lifestyle?
Oh no.
Okay. Because I would suggest call them up, ask them how they feel, see if they are siding with the assailant or if they believed what the victims went through was horrendous. Talk
I'm
to
sure.
someone in that community.
I'm sure normal gay people would say, yeah, that's horrible. Yeah, I agree with you. That's
Okay.
retarded for anybody to say that that's not horrible. But I don't
Okay.
see anybody from the news saying it or the press secretary saying anything about it.
Yeah. And as I pointed out, I think that the reason you're not seeing that is probably because you're not in the sphere where you're likely to hear it. I mean, there are gay publications, there are gay media outlets and things like that. I would suggest tune into some of that and see how they acted. You can look up articles. You can look up any gay publication, look up articles from that day See what they had to say. You can find that out pretty quick. Now, if they're talking about, something that's totally off the mark from what happened and they don't bring it up at all, you might have a point. But my guess is if you look up whether it's gay correspondents and journalists or whole gay media outlets, they were speaking out on behalf of that day. Because I ran a program, and the first thing I asked many of the viewers is, does this set back the LGBT community? That you now have a mass casualty guy, or girl in this case, or whatever the hell, that committed an act like this while being transgender. I do believe it set back the LGBT community. It should not have, but just like you're saying, there's a lot of folks that are going to believe what you believe, that they didn't say nothing bad about it, so they must support it.
Yeah. Well, just ask around, see if anybody else heard anybody, celebrities or the news say it was bad.
All right. I'm going to look that up just for shits and giggles when I get time. But I got to move it on, Ivy. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Good to have you on again.
All right. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking in the comments, someone said their stock has gone up. No way in hell you believe that Anheuser-Busch's stock has not taken a hit when you got the entire spear of the right wing criticizing the hell out of them. Whoever put that in the comments, look up the stock for Anheuser-Busch, the parent company of Bud Light, and you tell me you don't see where they took a hit. They're doing articles on this shit. $5 billion. Anheuser-Busch, because they're not just going after Bud Light. It's no different than if Pepsi said something racist. You don't think we're going to go after Minute Maid and Sprite or whatever the hell, Sierra Mist? You don't think we're going to go after those other companies too? It's not just Bud Light that is being hammered for what they did. It's all of the companies that are under the Anheuser-Busch umbrella. They're targeting all of those damn companies. Looking in the comments, I don't think they have lost $5 billion. All right, well, listen, we're talking numbers that are well above both of our pay grades by eons, by galaxies. But I'm giving you the numbers that are being presented on the articles. You should be able to go to Yahoo Finance or any of the pages that give you their ticker, or better yet, their stock letter or their designation, and you can check what has happened. Look in the last 30 days of what Anheuser-Busch's stock has done. You should be able to easily reference this. They're suggesting they went from a company valuation of $132.38 billion, $127.13, over $5 billion in reduction. Just simply type in Bush loses $5 billion in Google. You'll see articles pop up all over the place. Going back to the box, somebody put in lost $5 billion in 10 days. Exactly. All right, looking in the comments, Jamie Pizzini, old timer, welcome back. I see you in. Good afternoon, Pizzini. Welcome back to the program.
Hey, what's that?
Jamie. Hey, what's up? $5 billion. This is March 31st. What the hell in the name of cancel culture is this?
I find a few of these things to be seriously hilarious. One is that, when you're talking about cancel culture and the denial by the right that they practice cancel culture, I mean, come on, man. You're around the same age as me. I'm 47. And we grew up through a time where cancel culture from the right was commonly practiced. I don't know how many books were banned when I was a kid. TV shows couldn't come on the television. In fact, I remember when cartoons were being created and they were only allowed to show the product for a few seconds for every episode because people were so concerned that they were just selling us things instead of teaching us morals and things like that. So that whole idea of cancel culture being a left-wing thing to me is hilarious. It is a both sides thing. Whatever mode they got, they're going to hit you with it, and it doesn't matter if you're left-wing or right-wing. Somebody's going to be pissed about whatever you do. But specifically speaking about,
I would totally agree. You had everything from remember Dan Quayle getting pissed off with Murphy Brown because it showed that a woman could live on her own without a man. They wanted to cancel the damn show. When Ellen DeGeneres had her sitcom and she came out as gay, the right wanted to cancel her damn show in the 90s. Cancel culture has always been around.
It's always been there, and like I get tired of hearing people say that it's one side or the other. I mean, and I say that as a guy who I guess would be considered a leftist at this point. So I'm just tired of hearing that whole idea of cancel culture. But I do like throwing it in their face when they're the ones denying they do it. But I will tell you this. Yeah, I have not had a chance to compare how Bush has fared versus the rest of the stock market, because while they are experiencing a downturn right now, I believe most of the other large corporations are as well, because of the recent reports on inflation and there might be a mild recession at the end of the year. So I know some of the other stocks I have took a hit. So I don't know what the exact percentages are. But we had this conversation on Easter with a few people, because my family is on both sides of the aisle. So we had this conversation, and one of the things I brought to everyone's attention is this. If me and you are talking about what we're going to do, and I have my own business, but I'm not a large-scale corporation. I don't do research and case studies to find out what's going to happen before I make a move. They do.
Okay.
So whether or not you think this was a good move by them or not, they already know it's a good move or not, pretty much. Like, I'm not saying they can account for every variable, but they knew this was going to happen. How about this? The most talked about beer company on earth right now is who? So whether you think it's good or bad right now, all press is good press. So yes, they may have taken a hit, but let's see where they are a year from now. They already believe, now I don't know, again, nothing's 100%, but they've already done studies on this, I guarantee it, to see what the reaction was going to be by us, just like they do with movies or everything else we experience. And they know that even if they take a hit right now, they can write that off, and they're going to gain so much popularity, because what the hell, this is the only beer we're talking about right now.
Yeah. And I agree to some degree that the whole phrase no publicity or any publicity is good publicity. But I put it on the screen and I tried to find it from a source I know a lot of my beloved MAGA might at least be willing to listen to. Here is and I didn't even do my research from the Fox News article, but I see even Fox News is running a story that says they're shedding roughly $5 billion.
Yeah. I'm not
so even Fox News is saying it.
So take a look at, for example, look at the big hit Elon Musk took when he was taking over Twitter, and how many billions of dollars he lost in value, like stuff like that. But you're going to see that he's going to recover that and then some. Like, these guys know what they're doing, even if it seems ridiculous to us, because it's so far, like you said earlier.
I don't know. You think they're going to? You think they're going to ultimately profit from, using a transgender spokesperson? You think at the end of the day they're going to make money off of this?
I think that they're not only using the transgender spokesperson, they're using the conservatives too, because you're talking about them. You are bringing their name up. So let's say, for example, I'll give you an example like this. So let's say we're having a conversation just like I was on Easter, and I'm an ally, but I drink Coors, right? So I'm an ally, I drink Coors. Well, you might have quit. You just informed me that a cause I support is being supported by this other company I'm not patronizing yet. It's going to get them attention. So you got to know for a fact, and this isn't even a guess. It's a fact that most people are not discriminatory against trans. Some people are. That's a small percentage of our overall population, even if they're loud. So you have more allies than you have people that are against. And even if you're not,
you believe they're currently in America. In America, you currently believe there are more allies in favor of transgender than there are against them.
Yes, I don't even think it's close. I think you have a large portion of us that don't give a shit, right? So no matter what you say, it's not going to make a difference. Then you have that group of people that we just want everybody to get along. Whether we do or not is something else, but we feel that way. Like, I want every American to have the same shot as anybody else. Am I going to gay pride parades and waving a flag? No. But a lot of people are sitting where I am, or in the I don't give a shit category. The only people that are really going to go against a group like that are the same group of people that are going to go against a bunch of other major issues. It's not that many of us. That population is small. Most people just care about their own sphere and they want to stay out of it. So while I would concede that maybe ally is not the right word, the anti is a small number. And I think that goes for a lot of these issues that we think are huge because people are talking about them politically. Most of us just want to stay out of that mix. So
let me interrupt by saying this. I think that most folks, in regards to being pro or anti transgender, I think that it's kind of similar to racism or some of these other do not do things. Most folks that are against it are going to lie. Most folks that are anti-transgender or anti-black or anti-Hispanic, if you ask them, they're going to lie about it. So I don't know if you could ever find out, because they're going to tell you, no, I don't have a problem with these people. But in reality, they do.
Nah, you know what? I would consider definitely a possibility. I don't, I don't have an answer for the ones that don't say it. I'm just going by what we're polled in general. Most people are not, at least, again, I got to take you at your word until I know better, right? But I think going by what we see, most people are pro equality for everyone. Even though I would agree with you, I definitely agree that that's a strong point you made there, that people would just goddamn lie about it and,
Yeah.
and say whatever it is to keep you off their
The
ass.
people who are anti-transgender, because some folks even in the audience, when I did the poll, said, well, why don't you add don't care to your answer? The people who are anti-transgender are going to check the don't care box. Nobody's going to come out and say I'm anti-transgender. Nobody who really wants their image or concerned about their image are going to come out, just like I said, with racism. You look at how America has been ran for the last 200 plus years. Find me some politicians during even the Jim Crow or the worst, darkest eras of America that were on record saying, I don't like black people. None of them are going to say that, even though you can clearly tell from their laws that they don't like them.
You know what? You're right, and that was done specifically. I believe it was one of the people that was on the. I believe it was the Christian right was talking about that. He was saying back in the day they would just say the N-word and the N-word this and that, and he said now we have to say, some other words they use to make it seem like you're not talking about black people, but they really were. So the dog whistle was invented, right, for things like that. And I think you're going to see a lot of that for trans too. Don't get me wrong, but overall, I still believe, and I could just be naive here. I believe that the average person doesn't want to persecute people. So like I hope that's true. I hope I'm right. That's one of those few times where I don't hope I'm wrong. But I'm going to keep going by from what I hear from people locally. And like I said, I live in a conservative town in a progressive state. So I feel like I hear a lot of the worst stuff. Like I don't hear people editing out the N-word. I don't hear people,
Do you think if the transgender community wanted to put on a drag show or something in your town, you think they'd be okay with it?
I think it would ultimately be okay at large, but I do think that you would have at least a chunk, probably 20-25% of us that would be talking shit about it at the very least.
What about a transgender that wanted to be on the city council or something like that? You think you'd have a problem with that in your town?
Again, yeah, there would be that portion of them, the MAGA people and some of the more staunch conservative side that maybe don't identify as MAGA but still agree with a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I do. All of my local delegates are Republicans. And I've heard each and every one of them talk out against things that I thought were just, normal part of society today. So yeah, I expect their constituents to be saying the same things. No doubt in my mind about that. But at the same time, I do think that overall we generally support the freedom of movement and speech here. So I think people are going to complain about it, but I think it's going to happen anyway. And I think the same thing is happening right now with Bud. I'm going to spin it back into what your show's about. I think people are complaining about it, but I think those people are the minority. They're just being loud. And I think that ultimately this is only going to serve the corporation, and they probably knew this to begin with. So we'll see, man. I guarantee we're going to be talking about this for more than just this month. But when the
I tend to agree, but I got to move it on. I do agree it's going to be coming up more than just this month.
God bless.
Is full, and now we're selling products. You don't have to agree with those. I don't know what the hell's going on. Let's see here. Jamie, go ahead and drop out. For some reason, it looks like the app is doing something flaky here. I'm trying to do it. Yeah. So, my last one, that he believes it's the minority. Possible, but he suggested also the minority are being the loudest. Well, How do you think most of these marginalized groups, including African Americans, have gotten rights? They were the minority, but that still did not stop them from changing the mindset of the majority to get where they want. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I strongly believe that it's going to go on for a while. I don't know if Anheuser-Busch is going to profit from that. My suspicion is they're going to drop Mulvaney, the transgender person they're sponsoring, from their products to try to salvage things. I don't see it being something that's a temporary fad out of anger from folks on the right side of the aisle. As long as they're sponsoring that person, I believe they're going to continue having problems. But maybe I'm wrong. Looking in the comments, people don't want other people's agendas shoved down their throats. Rich, where the hell do you go in America where someone's agenda is not being shoved down your throat? You go to a damn baseball game and they're talking about pledging allegiance and, and bombs bursting in there. You didn't come to a game to be patriotic to a damn nation. You came to watch a game. You're having agenda shoved down your throat every damn where you go. Went to a basketball game the other day and an Iraq veteran that lost his arm in a war was there being honored. I'm at a basketball game. Why the hell are you honoring war veterans? Everywhere you go in America, there is an agenda being shoved down your throat. The only difference is whether you are in favor of that agenda or you are not. But there are agendas everywhere you go. Got bombers. You go see, when you watch the Super Bowl, B-1 bombers, F-18s, F-22s are flying overhead. Are we about to have a football game or are we preparing for war with China? What the hell is going on? That happens every damn game. Is that not an agenda? Or is it just an agenda you support? Going back to the box. What did this say? Never mind. We'll keep it moving. Okay, old timer. Sir, program, always good to hear from old timer. What the hell is going on? $5 billion since March 31st just for sponsoring a transgender person. What's going on, man?
Oh, they just kind of made a marketing faux pas and wokeness, and they targeted something completely 180 degrees away from their consumer base. And their
are you suggesting their consumer base is not in favor of the transgender lifestyle, anti-trans or something?
Well, consumer base doesn't want to be associated with it. I mean, if they had to put a bearded dude on the can, first of all, I'm not going to drink a can of beer that's got somebody's face on it. I don't care whose face it is. I don't want to have to stare at it all day long.
Does the face on the beer change the product? If you really like what's in the can, do you care what's on the can?
Oh yeah, it'll change the product. If they had took the dude off the brawny, paper towels, right, and they'd have put that burly bearded dude on the side of that beer can, then you'd have all kinds of bearded people going out and buying beer. That never drank it before, just because it's presented as the manly man.
I love pancakes, but I never saw that slave-looking Aunt Jemima woman as a reason to buy that syrup. The syrup is really good, but I never looked at the woman as a reason to purchase that syrup. I just can't imagine you're purchasing products. Now, if I'm a child, and I want to learn to play basketball, and they got LeBron James on the front of a box of Wheaties or some cereal, I might buy it. But as a grown-ass man, are we really purchasing products because they got some dude on the front of it?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, because I love Aunt Jemima pancakes and syrup, and I would buy it because her picture was on the front, because I could recognize it. I didn't bother to read so many labels.
If they put mildly ass on the front of that syrup, you're going to stop eating it?
No, I'm not going to stop eating it.
Right.
But well, here's the thing. I don't buy groceries. My wife goes and buys groceries for us, but if she sends me, I buy what I recognize. All the labels look the same to me.
If what you're saying is true, when men go shopping, why not just put a blonde with big ass titties on the front of every damn thing?
Oh, because then the shelves wouldn't have anything on them.
I don't know. Are we really that shallow that we're buying products just because somebody is on the front of it? I could see sitting there and having some wings and
Yes,
Hooters.
pictorials is the easiest form. You're breaking up. Pictorials and symbology is a stronger language than any alphabet writing. You recognize pictorials and stuff, but as far as a marketing standpoint, there's really no such thing as bad advertisement, because in 30 days, most consumers forget the advertising downfall and only remember the name of the company.
So do you agree with my last caller that Anheuser-Busch is actually going to profit from this? This will go away and they actually will make money, that they knew what they were doing when they did this?
Oh, yeah, possibly in the long run. But like I said, in 30 days, most people forget the story of why there was a bad advertising and only remember the name of the company. The name is what sticks in their head. Now, if, they could come out and counter it and leave that dude on the Bud Light can and come out and put a bearded dude on the Budweiser can and say, there's a men's drink and a woman's drink. And Budweiser regular will go through the roof.
Dude, now obviously there are female drinkers of beer as well. And by the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to 20,000 likes, 700 plus of you in here. Let's make that happen. Show your boy some love. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Do women, talking to you, okay, old timer, do women have this same, based on pictures mindset? Because women are the ones in this country that do the grocery shopping. And I don't see Fabio on the front of any cereal. So if women are doing the same thing, I know women are not buying syrup because they like Aunt Jemima's face. Uncle Ben ain't all that hot. So why is this now? You buy some Quaker Oats because you like the oatmeal guy? I just don't see it.
Oh, women read the labels. They read the labels. They read the ingredients. They read what all's put into it. It's one of the reasons I don't go shopping with my wife, because if I go, I'm buying $600 of stuff that I recognize and coming out with 3 items. And if my wife goes, she's coming out with $600 worth of stuff that she only spent $6 on, but she spends a week in the grocery store reading all the labels.
Okay. So last question before I move it on, I want to ask you, so do you think by them sponsoring a transgender individual, do you think that is shoving the transgender agenda down your throat? Do you see it that way?
Yeah, in the aspect, I don't, for instance, I was raised Christian. I don't go around shoving a Bible in front of everybody's face. Not my place to.
You don't need to. That's done everywhere else. You don't need to do it. It's already been done everywhere.
Right. How people want to live their lives is people's business. But when you have a production company that appears to cater to one side of society over another, all of a sudden, there's going to be consumer recourse about that. It's, unfortunately, but that's the way it is.
How about in the comments? Last question. In the comments, Florida Boy makes the statement: good beer is good beer regardless of what it is on the can or what color the can is. You don't see any validity to that at all. You can put whatever you want on the can. It doesn't change the quality of the project or the product inside of it. You're going to stop drinking the product simply because of what's on the can.
Yeah, and people will. Good beer is good beer, but you can take a shit beer and put a good picture on it, and shit beer will go up in sales just because of the picture.
That's some shallow ass beer drinkers. I don't drink beer, but I appreciate you coming on, old timer. Got to move it on. Thanks for coming in here again. Good to talk to you again too, man.
You too, brother. You have a blessed day.
Absolutely, same. All right, comments, and I do tend to agree that a good product is a good product. Just because it is not packaged properly should not take away from it. But as my last caller said, a lot of us are that way. A lot of us are shallow. Because I think the chicken wings at Hooters sucks. but damn, the waitresses are kind of worth coming in there and giving a tip to every now and then. So he might be right. He might be right. Good talk with Old Timer. Looking in the comments, remember French fries were renamed Freedom Fries after 9/11, says Robert. Yeah, that was a Bill O'Reilly thing, protesting France for not participating in the Iraq War, and they were starting to call French fries Freedom Fries in protest of France. Wow, I do remember that. Coca-Cola changed their product. Well, yeah, they used to give it with cocaine. Probably could have made more money off of it now. Going back to the box, Misha. Or better, yeah, Misha for chair. I think Beth, let me make it happen. Let me keep it moving. All right, Misha for it moved you to the top. Apologize for some of you folks because it does move it around. Good afternoon, Misha. Welcome to the program. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know.
What are you? $5 billion. Anheuser-Busch loses $5 billion since March 31st. Is this cancel culture?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I would say it's cancel culture, right? I mean, it goes both ways. Left cancels right, right cancels left. But you know, they're marketers. They know what they're doing, and they're trying to reach out to a younger, broader market. And I think in
Do
the
you
end,
see?
it'll pay
Do
off.
you see any anti-trans or transphobia from this at all?
I see a lot of transphobia from it.
Mm.
I do. I say I'm not going to drink a product that I have enjoyed my entire adult life, hopefully, maybe even as a youth, simply because they wanted to represent someone a little different than you, maybe someone a lot different than you. I don't see where that's a problem. I mean, if we go back in time, wouldn't that be the same as people saying it? Let's just say they had a member of the Black community on a can and they didn't like the Black community and I'm not going to drink this now. I think they're on the wrong side of history. And I think that we need to this is the problem in America, is just love and accept. Who cares that this person's on a can?
Mm. You know, speaking of the possibility of changing your customer base based on an African American on the front of the project, I'm even though I'm an older guy, I'm young enough that stuff happened mostly before I was born here in America. But I can give a story. When I lived overseas, I knew a girl who did home daycare, and she had a Facebook page, and on her Facebook page, she would use the picture of an infant. Well, I started dating her for a while, and she changed the picture to an African-American child, and her customers actually started complaining and telling her to change the picture from in the early 2000s. So I do agree that it can piss off some customers when you put up the wrong person. But what about the notion that putting a transgender on the front of a can is somehow promoting that lifestyle or shoving it down the throats of beer drinkers?
Well, aren't we all beer drinkers? I mean, who's to say?
I'm not.
Well, I mean, a lot of Americans are beer drinkers. And are you going to say that the trans community, members of the LGBTQ community, don't drink beer? I mean, come on. And again, you're trying to grow your market because our world's changing. We're progressing, and a lot of people don't like it. But eventually, those people are going to be gone, and they need to replace their customer base. And honestly, if you look at this whole they go woke, they go broke, it doesn't track. You know, every time that they've tried to cancel, they do better.
I don't know.
Look at Carhartt.
I don't know if that applies everywhere.
It's breaking up for me. I don't know why.
Yeah, sometimes I get a little issues around this time of day. But what I was saying is, I don't know if I can totally dispel the they go broke thing statement, because there are some companies, I believe, that have taken a huge hit by going woke. Some movies and films, for instance, where they tried to deliberately put minorities or LGBT members in the movie and people boycotted the movie, or sitcoms and things like that. They go woke, they go broke does have some validity to it in some cases.
You know, I mean, possibly. But what's the motivation of that? Like, I'm not going to go see that movie because it has somebody who doesn't look like me in it. But all the other companies, like Nike, for example, Remember when they were all, everyone was all upset about Kaepernick taking a knee?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Nike did a whole advertising campaign on that, and their sales went through the roof.
Well, when you look at the customer, for some people it can work because when you look at the customer base of Nike, it's mostly young people and a hell of a lot of minorities. So they can get away with that. But say, for instance, when NASCAR decided to get rid of the Confederate flag or start putting an African American driver, it doesn't work as well because they have a different customer base.
They have, well, and what's different about
Yeah.
their customer base, right? I mean, we can say it out loud, or we can just let everyone, or we can let everyone
Let's
infer
just
it,
say
right?
they're white.
Okay.
We'll just say they're a little bit lighter. They're more light skinned.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Somebody said that you said Disney. You said Disney. Disney's gross profit in 2022 was $28 billion, a 27% increase from 2021. They're doing okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're going to survive the raft of DeSantis. DeSantis is he just got a hard on for them.
I
They
don't
were
think
able to outsmart him and trick him, but he's still going after them.
DeSantis won't survive the wrath of Disney. Disney is one of the most profitable, most wealthy corporations. I don't think he stands a chance against them.
Do you think DeSantis will survive the wrath of Donald Trump?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like DeSantis hasn't even run yet, and Trump can't stop talking about him. He hasn't even said he's a presidential candidate, and Trump's already going after him hardcore.
Yeah. They already have the Make America Great Foundation. I guess it's some type of political foundation. They already got anti-DeSantis commercials out. I watched a political ad on TV the other day that said on Fox News of all places, that said DeSantis is not ready to lead America. And at the end it says paid for by the Make America Great Foundation. So they're already going after him before he even announces.
Yeah, I think Trump's a little scared of him, to be honest. I don't think you talk about your opponent that much if they're irrelevant. If he's like, DeSantis, I got him beat, why even bring him up? Why give him that attention?
Yeah. Well, before I move on, I just want to ask you, in regards to the LGBT community, who do you think might be friendlier to that community between Trump and DeSantis?
Oh, I would say, gosh, that's a tough one. I would say, based on track record, I would say Trump. If I'm gunpoint and have to make an answer, because DeSantis has passed so many bills that are anti-LGBTQ. The latest one is really scary, which will allow him to take children out of the home if they get gender affirming care or if they have a trans parent. That is something.
I heard something. Elaborate on that. I heard something about it. Before I let you go, I want you to elaborate on what, because I have heard about it, but I don't know the specifics.
Yeah, basically what it's trying to say is that giving your child affirming care would be considered abuse. And because it's considered abuse, then they would be able, don't say not true, the bills are out there, Heather, you can read them. I don't have them pulled up right here. But they would be allowed to remove that child from your home. And that is really frightening, that we're going this far. So I would say just based on bills, DeSantis is scarier, but rhetoric, Trump is right there with him. So I hope that neither of them, and listen, I'm not, you know me, I was a lifelong Republican. I would love to see a really strong, moderate Republican candidate go up against a new moderate Democrat candidate, and the United States will be better because of it.
Tim Scott versus Gavin Newsom. Who you got?
Oh, who am I voting for?
Who would you have in that case? You said young, moderate Tim Scott, Gavin Newsom. Where are you going?
Currently, right now, I would go Newsom. And that's only because I think that Republicans still need a little bit of a wake-up call, that they need to get control of their party, bring it more to the center, and leave that behind. So I'd like to see, and I think it'd be best for everyone if we had, and I was glad to hear that Tim Scott was running. I don't think that he has a chance, but it's nice that he is.
None at all. Michi, I appreciate you
Thanks for
coming
having
through
me
and got
on.
to move it on.
All right, take
None
care.
at all. Good talk.
Have
Good
a good
talk.
afternoon.
All right. You too. All right. Yeah, does anyone out here, particularly my beloved MAGA, anyone out here believe that Tim Scott poses any real challenge to the presidential aspirations of Donald Trump? Does anyone out here believe that Tim Scott could even hold a candle to actually achieving the Republican nomination in regards to Tim Scott? Now, obviously, if it came down to, Tim Scott versus Biden or something like that, a lot of folks on the right might pick Tim Scott. There may be even some liberals and independents. Definitely some independents will pick Tim Scott over Biden, and there may even be a few liberals. But Tim Scott against Trump among Republican voters, I don't see a chance in hell of that. I just don't see a remote chance. Let me go back to the comments. Tim Scott is a good candidate, but not 2024. He won't be for 2028 or 2032 either. Ron DeSantis might be there, or who knows who else coming down the pipe. I could think of a host of people. Ted Cruz, that people would, when it comes to the Republican Party, I can think of a host of folks that would be picked over Tim Scott for the Republican nomination. Virtually any Republican that has not been destroyed by President Trump would probably beat Tim Scott in terms of the Republican nomination. All right, let me keep it moving. I would love to vote for anyone over Biden. You're not the only one that would probably say anyone but Biden. People hate Ted Cruz, even Republicans. KS 1981, I think all Ted Cruz needs is a resounding, endorsement from President Trump, and his numbers will skyrocket. My example of that, and I'll go right back to the box after you guys tap the screen, get your boy up to 30,000 likes. I appreciate that. When it comes to an endorsement we'll talk about Ron DeSantis. Look at what Ron DeSantis did in the midterms. The shit is almost historic. Look at how many counties he won in Florida. Look how much love the Republican Party has given Ron DeSantis since he came on the scene, handled the pandemic the way he did, kept the economy going and shit like that. The moment he started being attacked by President Trump, he suddenly was a questionable leader. Maybe not the best choice. Maybe not ready for the big times. But before that, it was Ron DeSantis every damn where. He would have been the perfect candidate to follow Trump. Everybody was saying it. Give Trump another term or put Ron DeSantis on the ticket for vice president. Everybody had a favorable opinion. I'm talking about my folks on the right, not on the left. On the right, everyone had a favorable opinion of Ron DeSantis. The moment Trump started attacking him, his numbers are just like fucking Anheuser-Busch. They're going down. Sustaining an attack from Trump is a hell of a feat to go through. Going back to the box, it is Beth Thrifts. Welcome back to the program, Beth. Long time no talk to. I don't know if it actually froze or didn't let her. We'll keep it moving in. No one like this. Stop bashing each other. Farm life. I don't know in American society currently if we can do the non-bashing thing. It's become so trivial nowadays that if you take a moderate position and try not bashing, you will get bashed by those who are used to bashing. I try to maintain a moderate position my damn self. Even though I make it clear I lean left, I respect and love talking to folks on the right. And I get hammered by both sides for doing that shit. You're not far enough to the left. You're liking MAGA. You're an Uncle Tom. You're a sellout. Every program I get that. I've had it 5 times on this one. So when you go along the center line, try to maintain some form of independence, both sides are pissed off with you because you're not patriotic enough to that damn side. That's why you don't have enough folks, as you pointed out, that are getting away from bashing each other. Going back to the box. J.R. Goldman. Appreciate you coming on the program. As always, tap the screen, show your boys some love. 35,000. I'm going to keep asking. I like you guys tap the screen. It helps out the algorithms, brings in more MAGA. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Goldman, good afternoon.
How you doing, sir? I'm tapping the string like I think I gave you at least 30,000 of them likes right there. I think you only
Okay,
got
but
9 from somebody else.
you represent all of them? Did you represent all of them? So what the hell is going on with Anheuser-Busch losing $5 billion in revenue since just March 31st? What is the Republicans trying to say?
Okay, well, first of all, as far as the advertisement with with uh with Bud Light, it's Bud Light, correct?
Yes.
I have to have a little more faith in the advertisers and the people that put the money behind that. I think there's a strategy behind it. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I do
I'm
know,
not either.
yeah, but I do know there's no such thing as bad publicity. So, I mean, in other words, like, well, let's take Trump, for example. I mean, he's just like puts out all these crazy tweets and it gets on the news. All you hear is Trump posted this, Trump did that. Even though good or bad, like I'm in the music business, they say there's no such thing as bad publicity. As long as your name is getting told out there, whether it's in a good context or a bad context, we always say when people stop talking about you and you become irrelevant, that's when it becomes scary.
Well, let me ask you that question then. Right now, there's a hell of a lot of folks because of a very well-known news story talking about the Dalai Lama. You think that's good publicity where that guy is going through for sticking out of his tongue and telling the kid to suck it? Everybody's talking about it. You think that's good publicity? It's drawing more people to that religion?
You know what? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that. What's going on with that? I was
Okay.
familiar with what you guys were talking about all the way up till that. I'm not hip to that. But you know what?
Okay.
I mean, but I could be wrong. I mean, I have no idea. I just know that, like you guys said it, Budweiser that isn't their demographic who they have advertising. But they also, they've been around for a long time, so they're not a bunch of idiots up there that just went, well, let's shoot ourselves in the foot. They have to have a strategy. I'm giving them that much faith. I'm giving them that much credit. That's what I'm saying. I may not know exactly what, because it seems to have backlash, but I'm saying, and I don't know that it's I'm not in the advertisement business. You know what I mean? I think I'm probably missing an angle. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to give them that much.
Okay.
But you guys were talking about all kinds of stuff I was interested in talking about.
Well,
Then you started talking about the Dalai Lama. I don't know anything about the Dalai Lama.
Let's get off the Dalai Lama. I just brought that up because you said any publicity
Negative
is good
publicity.
publicity. If what you're saying, any publicity is good publicity, hell, that should make us both want to go to Flint and have some water because everybody talks about it. But
Well,
I guess I would have to ask you. I would have to ask you this: when they decided to use a transgender spokesperson, do you see that somehow in any fashion or form as shoving the transgender lifestyle down the throats of beer drinkers?
yeah, I think there's probably a certain amount of people that don't want an agenda that they're not associated with. I don't know if they're anti the agenda, but okay, I myself, I'm not anti any agenda, but I don't like an agenda being pushed on me. You see what I'm trying to say?
But okay, yeah, I get that. But I love Quaker oatmeal. It's got the old dude on the front. I don't see that as you trying to turn me into a damn Quaker when I buy the oatmeal.
Brother, you ain't a Quaker?
No.
I'm just teasing you.
I just had KFC. Here's another one. I
see what you're saying.
I just had KFC yesterday. Had a 2-piece chicken and biscuit meal. Colonel Sanders, you think I want to be a slave owner? I don't get it.
Well, at the end of the day, does it still have alcohol in it? You know what I mean? Does it still have the same effect? It don't matter who's on the cover. I mean, it really doesn't matter. I mean, logically, why does it matter if they put Mickey Mouse on it? Why does it matter? It don't matter. If you enjoy a drink, drink the drink. That's what I think. You know what I mean? But that's just my personal. Like, you can put whatever you want on a Snickers bar, but it ain't gonna stop me from eating one if I want to eat.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So then why the hell are people suggesting that by using it, you wouldn't even know the person was transgender if they didn't tell you? It would just look like a woman is on the front of the damn can. Why is they looking at that as if I don't understand why that's being viewed as trying to promote the transgender lifestyle? Just drink the damn beer and throw the can away.
Yeah. No. I see your point. I see your point. You have a great point. I try to stay neutral on a lot of things because I like to pull in different outlooks on how other people think. If I form too much of a strong opinion, too far to one way or the other way, then I'm closed-minded. I'm not going to hear other people's opinions, and I think all opinions are valid to some degree and need to be heard out. So I'm not going to be a guy that's really going to go argue somebody. I learn more by closing my mouth and opening my ears and going, because I'd rather seek understanding. Like, understand, why do you think the way you do when I'm talking to somebody or looking at a situation, more than trying to force what I think on them. Because I'd rather learn. I'd rather learn what's going on around me, thought process, belief systems that are going on around me, than try to force mine on somebody else. But yes, I think you have a good point for going both ways. That, yeah, it shouldn't matter, and then people do feel like that it's being forced on them. So I think both things are valid points,
So how about in the comments, French Fries stated that, I don't know, talking about me, maybe talking about you, but the phrase is you are closed-minded. How about the idea that folks that do see this as shoving it down their throat, the lifestyle, is it possible that they are closed-minded, where they don't want to be exposed to this lifestyle at all because they are closed-minded to that lifestyle existing?
Yes, absolutely. I think that people have belief systems, and when they get locked into a particular belief system, it unconsciously or consciously closes their mind off to being open to other things. A belief system is a very dangerous thing. You have to be careful when you pick one, because if you pick one and you're going to stick to it, no matter what it is, it can make you somewhat narrow-minded, because then you're following this belief system and something else that's not doesn't coincide with what you believe. You start to reject it because it's like, oh, doesn't align with my belief system. A belief system, again, is something that people, and you know what, you can't reason somebody out of something they didn't reason themselves into. So a lot of people are just indoctrinated through our lives, our cultures, and we have a particular thought process, and they're not even aware that they're closed-minded. You know what I mean? And that becomes a difficult situation because you can't reason somebody out something they didn't reason themselves into. And so, yeah, I think unconsciously, it could strike a nerve with people who have a particular belief system, be that what it may. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of folks that are against what Bud Light did, but I have not heard any of them say, I am anti-LGBT or anti-trans. They all say they are not anti-LGBT or anti-trans, but they make it clear they hate what the company did. So I think to some degree, when you say folks that are not admitting, I think there's some anti-trans people that are in denial.
That's absolutely very possible, because what you got people who live a particular lifestyle, and let's say like the trans lifestyle is the furthest thing from their minds. And I mean, that's just not in their world, right? Then all of a sudden, bam, right in their refrigerator is something, and they might feel like, man, why is this being pushed on me? Why is this agenda being pushed on me? I'm not anti that, but I don't want it pushed on me. And when let me rephrase it another way. And I'm not going to, my religion, it doesn't even matter at this point. Let's say you're a Christian. Who cares what the religion is? And let's say a Christian comes along and they start beating you over the head with what they believe in. But you were just going along your day. I don't think people want to feel like they're trying to be force-fed any ideology. Or, I mean, that's me. I don't want somebody, if someone starts to try to force-feed me any ideology, I'm like, man, I ain't got the time. I just move on. Because, I think that could be part of it too. They could be unconsciously what we call transphobic. And it's like hitting a nerve inside of them. You know what I mean? And they may not even be aware of it. They may not even be fully aware of it. I mean, who's to say? But I'm just speculating,
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what we're all doing here. But I don't know. Like I said, I have a hard time thinking that they anticipated they were going to take such a big hit. Maybe they certainly knew there was going to be some anti-trans crowd, but $5 billion in 2 weeks is a hell of a lot of money. But
that is a lot of money.
That's a lot. I got to move it on, but I'm going to post a poll. We'll talk about it anyway. But
Hey, you know what, man?
nevertheless, I appreciate you coming through.
I only have talked to you a few times, but you're such a likable guy, man. Thank you for having me on your show.
Shit, I appreciate the accolade. Come on back through anytime.
All right, man. You take care.
All right.
Bye.
All right. So the poll I just discussed, I comments, but I want to ask this because I had this conversation with a few of the boys. If you have intimate relations, and you'll see the poll, if you have intimate relations with someone as a guy or even on the other side as a girl, but you know the woman you are with was previously born a man, post-op, they now have whatever the case may be. But you know before doing it that this person was born the same sex as you. Does that make you gay? I want to ask that. Do you see that as gay intimacy? Knowingly having intimate relations with somebody that you know for a fact was born to be the same sex as you. I posted the poll. I am very curious to see your answers in that. We're going to keep it moving. Damn, I have never seen so many yeses since I went to the strip club and asked somebody for a lap dance. It's crazy. But looking in the comments, crazy how Americans don't understand the laws of the land, and I am American MAGA immigrant. What laws of the land are you suggesting people do not understand? Tap the screen, get your boy up to 45,000 likes. As always, this program is and shall remain MAGA friendly in its entirety. Liberals are welcome as well. As always, we do not block, ban, or censor anyone on the basis of what the hell they have to say. Callan number 8, thank you for your generosity. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Nevertheless, we're going to go right back to the box. Tap the screen. 45,000 likes are possible if you show your boy some love. Moving it on. There's a hell of a lot of you guys in here, so I'm going to try to keep it moving. We tried Beth Riffs a minute ago, so we'll keep it again. Don't know if the connection will go through this time. There we go. Good afternoon, Beth.
Hey, I want to be on camera though. How be on? Oh, I see it. Okay, hold on. All right, I got it. Okay, I got it. Hey. Yeah, I'm
what do you think?
I'm sick of the MAGA. I'm sick of them. I was just at a drag show, not last night, but the night before. Nothing happened. It was beautiful. I learned how to do some makeup. We had a blast. We had so much fun.
What was the show you were at? Did you see anything that would be inappropriate to bring a 5 or a 6-year-old there for?
Well, yeah, because there was it's an adult, it's a bar. I mean, it's a bar.
Okay.
But as far as like I know
let's remove the bar, the alcohol aspect. Okay. What about among the performances and the performers? Did they do anything?
No.
Okay.
And they have them like reading because I know the oldest working drag queen in Orlando, and they have them reading at the libraries, and MAGA people are flipping out. Y'all need to stop, because I'm telling you, every person I know that's homophobic or transphobic, they're secretly curious. Because I've been going to gay bars since I was 17 because they would serve me, and I'm now 53. And I'm telling you, every person I know is secretly curious.
You got to elaborate. I think we all know, but I want you to elaborate for shits and giggles. What is secretly curious? I need to know.
Oh, come on. I mean, they're like, oh, I don't want those people around me. They're secretly curious. I don't want gay people around me. They're secretly curious about being gay. Or they've already done it.
Whoa. Okay, that's different. Let me take a sip.
I don't think sexuality is black and white. I think sexuality is very fluid. And I'm telling you, if I ever go to prison, I'm gay for this day. Day one, I'm getting a dark-skinned black woman that looks like a dude. I'm gay for this day. I'll have to learn how to, do things, but I'll do it.
I don't know how long I would have to be locked up before I want to hit a dude. I just can't see it. I gotta jump off the tier. I can't do it.
You could get him to do things. You just see the top of the head. What's that?
Hell no. I know what's going on.
No, I'm telling you, it's like Maslow's you know what Maslow's hierarchy of needs are? It's like our basic human
I
need.
don't need to know what Maslow got to say when you talking some gay shit like that. I can't do it.
You're
I
saying
can't do
that,
it.
but I'm telling you, everybody I know, all you have to do is listen to people and let them talk, and then they start talking, and you listen and you nod your head, and then the story comes out. I don't know a single guy that hasn't had some sort of homoerotic or thought or whatever.
I would rather draw a picture of you on my hand than to do. I can't do that. I can't do it.
I learned in college. There's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all need water, food, and sex. We all need that human comfort. Trust me, I'm 53 and I got guys hitting on me all the time because they got some milfy thing going on. They all want to be comforted and touched. And I'm telling you, it is what it is.
Girl, I can't do it. I'd rather bring some type of food back from the cafeteria and do that than to do something too. I'm about to do these mashed potatoes in my cell. I can't do it.
It'd take about a week, and then you would be doing you might not do certain things, but you would let somebody do to you.
You think I can be turned out in a week?
I think so. I think anybody can. Because we have an innate animalistic desire for touch and human, and even I do it. Like, I'll let people spend the night without having sex with them just because I get lonely.
You talking about a week? You about to turn me into Richard Simmons in 7 days? No way.
I don't think you'll be Richard Simmons because that's not your style. His style was, flamboyant. But I think give it about a week and you would let somebody, I can't do it on TikTok.
Shit. So let me ask you,
all the time, I live right off one of the main tracks in Orlando. I live right off of, it's OBT. And I see it all the time, guys pulling up, and there's a lot of transgender people walking out there, and they got baby seats in the back. They're married, and they don't care. Their wife's not. I always tell women, I say, take care of your guy sexually because he'll go someplace else.
Shit. So let me ask you this: if you were with a guy and something, man, this is getting graphic as hell. But let me just try this. Let me ask it to you this way: if you were dating a guy and you got to meet the guy's parents or whatever, and the mom was like, "Wow, I'm really happy to see he's with women now. I mean, you look far better than the guy he was with before you." You would be okay with that, knowing that he used to be with other dudes?
I don't care. I honestly don't care, as long as they're gonna stay committed. Which I don't know who's committed, but I honestly don't care. I do not care. I met a guy at the gay bar the other night, and it was like, I don't know if he was the one straight guy there, but I just go there by myself, hang out, and I inevitably end up meeting people and hang out with them. And he was like trying to get some, and I was like, "Aren't you gay?" He's like, "No, I'm straight." They go to gay bars just to cruise. If they don't meet a woman, they'll meet a guy.
I hate to sound like somebody on the right, but I don't have a problem with the lifestyle. But the fact that you said I could be turned out in a week, damn. I gotta make sure I stay out of jail. Beth, I gotta move it on.
Not necessarily turned out. Like, what's it called when I can't think of the word in the Black community. Because I was married to a Black man for like
down low.
On the down low. I think you would go down low and let somebody do something to you. Like I always say, I've never been with another woman, never. But if I go to prison, I'm getting a girlfriend day one. She's going to be dark skinned with a dude's haircut. And, it's true. It's true.
Oh my God. So y'all just making shit out of bars of soap, carving it into dildos. I can't do it.
Hell yeah. Day one, I'm getting but she gotta be dark. Somebody said why she gotta be, because that's my preference. Well, yeah, that's my preference. If I go to prison and I'm with the woman, she's gotta be dark skinned with a low hair. She's gotta look like a man. I don't think I could be.
You sure you ain't already gay? You got your partner already described and shit like that.
Well, that's if I get locked up. I mean, I don't want to manifest it going to prison.
If a guy like me said, if I ever go to prison, my mate is gonna look something like Mark Wahlberg. People would be like, "Your ass is gay." The fact that you can already describe that guy, your ass is gay. I can't do it. I ain't gonna be
I'm
able
not
to do it.
gay. I'm heterosexual. I am strictly dealy. I'm
No.
telling you. But I've had every race, I think. I've dated Dominican, Puerto Rican. I just broke up with a guy that was half Asian, half white. That didn't work out too well. But not because of his race. It's just I've tried everything, dated everything. But yeah, I have a preference for dark skin. Like I have to tell you this is off topic. I'm meeting Big Daddy Kane at the end of this year. You know who Big Daddy Kane is?
Oh, yeah, of
I'm
course.
meeting
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm going on the hip hop cruise. I'm not going on that specific cruise, but I already have a way to finagle it.
You sure you ain't gonna get your ass is gonna get hit on that cruise the way you
I'm
talking.
getting on the cruise. And if Big Daddy Kane is not married or doesn't have a girlfriend, it's on. That's my hero.
I gotta go.
I love you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolute.
Appreciate it. And MAGA people, stay off my page. Stay off my page, MAGA people.
I always come back. Come back anytime. All right. Real quick in response to the poll. Damn, Beth just opened my eyes up so big I don't think I even have eyelids anymore. Damn, that was, I see somebody in the comments said that was funny. It was. A week. Y'all gonna turn my ass out in a week? Come on now, leave my booty hole alone. Listen to this. Here is the results of that poll. If you have intimate relations, knowing that the individual was born the same gender as you, if you are intimate with someone you know is the same gender as you by birth, does that make you gay? Is that a gay act? Based on the poll, 64% of you said, hell yeah, your ass is gay as hell. 35% said no. But obviously my audience leans right. Most of my audience leans right. So I would love to have this asked to a liberal audience. Listen, folks, I'm a man born in the 70s, lived throughout the 70s and 80s. Everybody I know would say, yes, that shit is gay as hell. But I do understand we are in changing times now. And I'm not going to deny that the way I may have been brought up is certainly not only politically incorrect, but wrong by today's standards. It is a horrible way to address the LGBT community. So I'm not going to pretend like the way I was brought up does not require change, does not require me looking inside myself. But I am willing to admit when we came up, throwing around homophobic slurs was the norm. You threw a poor pitch in baseball, somebody would say that was a gay-ass throw. That just happened. Just like a lot of older white folks, Trump, Biden administration type people in Trump and Biden's age, racial slurs were the norm. You just would hope that we can progress out of that stuff. But I'm not going to pretend like I'm so damn high and mighty that I can't admit what we did as children, what we did as young men. What some people are still doing now. But the fact that I could be turned out in a week. Oh my God. Going back to the box. Don't turn me out, folks. Dude, I got folks trying to turn me out to MAGA. I'd rather put on this damn hat than to bend over for a celly. All right, going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with Black Friday gifts. Today's theme, don't turn me out. All right. Who was the rapper that made the song, Don't Try to Play Me Out? You can't play with my yo-yo by Ice Cube. You can't, don't turn me out. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that. Homegirl told me I would be turned out in a week. Damn. If you don't vote for me, you ain't gay. Oh no, you ain't black, says Joe Girard. I understand that's what Biden said. Vote for me or you ain't black, not vote for me or you ain't gay. Handsome, no gay guys going to mess with you at 6'6". Depends on how horny they are, fancy. Depends on how horny they are. I don't know what's going on with my box trying to bring up another caller, but do appreciate you folks tapping the screen. 65,000 likes is possible if you continue. Since this program is and shall remain MAGA friendly for its entirety, liberals are welcome as well. Don't block, ban, or censor anyone for trying to turn out the host. Nevertheless, I don't know what happened with Black Fridays, but we'll keep it moving and we'll see if we can bring on Taylor Girl 42. I don't know what's going on. Biden's racist and everybody see it. Why do you think that is, Martin? If Trump is the one that is pro-minority, pro-LGBT, and Biden is the intolerant one. But as you stated, nobody can see Biden's intolerance or Biden's racism. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the minority community overwhelmingly favors Biden over Trump? The LGBT community overwhelmingly favors Biden over Trump. Overwhelmingly favors Biden over Trump. Why is that if Biden is the bad guy and Trump is the good guy? See some type of unsung hero? In the comments, somebody says literally blind. All of these people, tens of millions of people, literally blind. Is there any way, fashion, or form that the Republican Party, or even particularly Trump himself, could do something to help open their eyes? Why is it that the Republican Party have such a negative rapport with minorities, Muslims, Hispanics, and the LGBT community? It's not like the Republican Party doesn't have media. It's not like they don't have money and outreach. You see folks in the Caucasian community overwhelmingly can hear their message. If they are the good party, why the hell can't they convince these people? You talk about Democrats and, let's say, folks down south. I don't care how much money the Democrats put into gun control. It's not going to convince somebody that's a fan of the Second Amendment to listen to them. But yet we want to believe that the minorities, Muslims, women, a lot of women, but certainly Hispanics and the LGBT community can easily be persuaded. Are they just weaker in the mind? Somebody explain that to me. I don't know what's going on with my box, but we will try it again. There's definitely something happening here. I'm trying to bring you guys on, but it's not letting me do it. We'll try with Electric Wolf 45. And if it doesn't come on this time, it might be something wrong with the program. There's a whole lot of you folks in here, and I would love to bring you on, but for some damn reason, the box is not working. He has more minorities in his administration than Trump do. A hell of a lot more. A hell of a lot more. Biden has transgender in his administration. His administration looks like the rainbow compared to Trump. Trump's administration has so few African Americans or minorities that you could damn near name them. Omarosa, Ben Carlson, what is the doctor? Ben Carson is a couple of them, 2, 3 of them. He fired Omarosa. Biden's Secret Service, no black agents. All right, but if he decided to get some black agents, how many of us might say he's racist? He decided to get a black vice president, and we said he was racist. He decided to get a black Supreme Court justice, and we said he was racist. So if he goes out and gets some black Supreme Court or some black Secret Service agents, we'd probably say what he's doing is racist. I don't know why I cannot bring you guys on in the box. I really am distressed about that. We'll keep trying though. No, Obama chose Kamala Harris. Obama didn't choose her. At the very least, maybe he recommended her, but officially the choice is up to Biden. Obama doesn't make that choice. Biden does. Biden can agree with it, but at the end of the day, Kamala is VP because Biden made that choice. He is racist. Search Biden's racist comments. The one and only Chica. Well, as I stated before, if Biden is the racist one and Trump is not, why the hell do most of the minorities think just the opposite? Most of the people that are suggesting that Biden is racist and Trump is not towards minorities are not minorities themselves. That is something we have to ask a question about. It's like somebody said, India is not a great place to visit, and they've never been to India. We have to ask, how does that happen? All right, let me continue on. Unfortunately, we're having a real difficult time with the program because I can't bring anybody in the box. Let's try it with Natasha. Don't know what the hell is going on here. There we go.
Here.
Somebody comes to Natasha. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Have you been following some of this crazy ass shit that we've been talking about?
I was trying to get up there when the lady was talking. I mean, it was after the lady, the last hosted, I mean, the last guest you had, she was trying to talk about things I don't think she fully understood, which was Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs is not talking about just food and shelter. It's talking about self-actualization. It's talking about the needs of a human being to exist. And she was right. Food, shelter, love are part of that, but it's not the need to be touched. I don't know where she got that from. That's the first thing I wanted to correct. Second thing I wanted to correct is that I don't know what's happening to us as human beings. It seems like people lack self of control. I don't have to be touched or any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To feel any type of way. I'm a human being. I can control my emotions. I can have control over my body. But one thing she said that made me want, and I hit the button as soon as she said it, when she said that she went to a gay bar or a drag show, and she saw nothing wrong with children being able to be in a drag show. And I wanted to tell her, not so. We as adults, we can make decisions to do anything we want. We can go see drag shows. We can be gay. We can be not gay. We can be bi, transsex. We can change our sex. We can cut off our boobs and throw them in the trash. But when you start dealing with children, that's when I'm going to rise up against you. No,
But
it's
wait
not
a
okay to
minute.
take
Okay,
a child.
let me interrupt. I promise to let you continue. But if you go
Sure.
to a drag show and they're just
Mm-hmm.
dressed as the opposite gender, a bunch of men and heavily made up, how is the sight of that alone bad for children?
Because when a child is a little person, how many times have you asked a little 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 8-year-old, what do you want to be when they grow up? And they say, I want to be a unicorn. Now, we all know ain't no damn way in 4 worlds that child can be a unicorn, but to a child's mind, and that's what we're dealing with. The mind of a child that does not have the capacity to understand concepts that are beyond their age. Why would you bring a man or a woman dressed in opposite? If you take a baby and you take a ball and put it behind your back, they don't have no capacity to know that it's behind your back. It's just gone to them. So why
But
would you
how is
turn
that
around?
harmful? You're right. A child
How
can
is
be
it
a
harmful?
unicorn, but how is that harmful?
It's harmful because children are impressionable at that age. They are learning everything about themselves and life. And so when you put a child in a room and you give them choices and you present things that their mind can't handle, they don't they don't process it correctly. I'll give you an example of that. A man dressed in a woman, when we have social norms, and people are trying to get rid of these social norms, but we have them for a reason. There's a reason why and I'm not even going to bring God into it because that's just too powerful for some people's mind to grasp around. But there are a reason why we have social norms and we have social things in place. Because if that's the case, everybody that get a thought in their mind and they want it to be recognized around the world, do you understand that we would be a world of crazy right now? Every time somebody decide they want to, oh, we want to get rid of this law because it's not inclusive. My biggest thing is I don't understand them and they. When somebody say my pronouns are them and they, don't them and they mean that it's more than one.
Yeah, it does sound like a
So
plural term. But let me ask you
so how
this.
are we doing them and they? I don't. It's just so much that you can't keep up with and you can't understand. And I'm not speaking against gay because I'm not against any gay people or any. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not
Well,
transphobic.
you
I
may not
believe
be
you should live and let live.
you may not be against gays, but the world you're talking about is certainly not in favor of them. Let me ask you this question though. Being a
When it
child of the
comes to
70s,
children.
hold on. I'll let you respond. But being a child of the
Hmm.
70s and 80s, I grew up watching reruns of the Lone Ranger and Cisco Kid. For some of you guys old enough to remember the Lone Ranger. When I was a child, we would carry around phony silver revolvers. That's what the Lone Ranger would carry around. And we would have somebody dress up as an Indian, put a leaf or whatever in their hair, and we would shoot at them because that's what they
Yeah.
did on the Lone Ranger. They shot at Native Americans. Now that's on TV.
Right.
Do you see a show like that? Do you see dressing up as a cowboy and shooting people that's pretending to be Native Americans? Do you think that's wrong for children? Because you're talking about children are being impressionable. We saw that on TV all the time as a kid.
Yeah, I think now, back in the day we used to smoke cigarettes in the hospitals at that time, and we didn't see anything wrong with it. I think the answer is when you know better, you do better. And I think giving images of violence to children is also detrimental to their health, because now we got kids that'll grab a gun real fast and walk into a bank and shoot people, and they don't know that these people are not coming back, not ever. When you kill them, they're gone forever. Nobody can ever replace them. They have no value for life. So now looking back on that, yeah, I think it was a mistake to show violent images to children. I think it's a mistake to show any imagery of shooting somebody, because they can't come back. And once children get it in their mind, oh, if I do this and then they're back next week, it's hard to unprogram a child's mind once you program it. So yeah, when you know better, you do better. Just like we used to smoke cigarettes
So,
in the hospital. You better not walk in the hospital today with a cigarette. You're gonna get escorted out. So you didn't see
so,
what I'm
so based
saying?
on what you're saying, violent video games, Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat, all of that stuff is a bad influence to
Absolutely.
kids.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we would have
absolutely.
kids. We would have kids that live this very sanitized version of. What about the Bible? People turning into piles of salt, parting rivers, and people burning and bursting into flames and burning in eternal hell. Do you think that's a good message for children?
Oh Lord, that's a whole nother story. Listen,
You're
I think
scared, but think
word
about it though, because you mentioned
the word should
religion.
be.
Hold on a second. Think about it, because you mentioned religion. The Bible literally scares the hell out of you to go towards Christianity. If you don't become a Christian and do the Lord's will, we're going to literally fuck you up. We're going to burn you. We're going to. I mean, it's horrible. Is that a good lesson to teach children?
Well, the word in the Bible needs to be rightfully divided, and you read the Bible with your spirit and not your mind. You have to have the spirit of the God. The Bible is written for people who believe in God, because if you don't believe in it, you're going to read it like it's allegory. People will call the Bible an allegory all the time. If you don't read the Bible with the spirit of the true living God in you to help you decipher those things, then you're going to read it like it's a book, like Mortal Kombat or any of these other things that you see out here. It got to do with your motive in reading and how you're reading it. So the Bible is for believers. If you don't believe in the Bible, you're reading it, it's like a book. So when you're reading it as a believer, you're looking to get something out of it for instructions or how
Why
to,
can't you
you
do the
know,
same thing? Why can't you go to a drag queen show and be a believer and do the same thing at that show?
do you have some children? Do you have grandchildren? Because
Yeah.
I don't
I don't
think
have I don't
so.
have any grandchildren, but I have a daughter. Yeah,
Your daughter is how old at this point, if you don't mind me asking?
I got one that's still in elementary school, and I got one that's an adult.
Okay. Your elementary school daughter, if she's in elementary schools, that means she's under sixth grade. Do you, looking at your daughter, knowing her the way you do, because you're her father, you know her in and out, right? Just like my heavenly father knows me in and out, you know your daughter in and out. Do you think her mind is ready and able to decipher what it needs to decipher? If you took her to a gay show with no explanation, just let her sit there and watch it, what do you think to be the outcome for your youngest daughter?
My daughter has a transgender friend that's been in my house already. Talks to him
Mm-hmm.
every night. Talks to the person
Mm-hmm.
every night. So my
Mm-hmm.
daughter can handle it. My daughter corrects me because of how I was brought up and some of the shit that I say. She corrects me all the time. She can handle this.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that. So there are some children that can handle it, but there are also some children who cannot. And unless those children are identified before you take them in there, because once you introduce a concept to a child, you can never take it back. That's why my children were never allowed to spend a night over anybody's house. Because even though I might have known that person, I don't know who you have access or who you allow access to your house. And once somebody play with my kids or do something flippy floppy, I can't undo it. So I'd rather err on the side of caution. There are so many children who
Let
are
me
not
ask, let me let
identified
me
to.
let's elaborate on that. And you are correct. Some children can handle it, and some cannot. That's why you got to err on the side of caution with the government. What about
Right.
liberals that might come? What about a liberal that might quip back and say some adults can handle guns and some cannot? That's why you got to err on the side of caution. Would you be in favor of government intervention with guns the same way
I'm
because some people can handle it and some people cannot?
I am a gun owner. I believe in the Second Amendment right to carry. I believe that everybody, the criminals, do not follow the law as far as guns. So I don't think we should be stifled as far as being able to have a gun to defend our families. Police, fire are first responders. They are responding. I should have the right to defend. Those are two separate words. You understand what I'm saying?
Well,
So
but
when they
but
are
think about what
responding
you
to a crime. So yeah, I think
yeah.
that people, but I also believe in background checks. I also believe that nobody should be able to walk into a gun store with no identification and just walk out with a gun. I think that you should have a background check. If you have things in your past that don't let you get a gun, then you shouldn't be allowed. I don't think that it should be free, but I don't think they should take it either. I'm balanced, and I'm thinking of ways that it can be not. It's not. You can't paint it with a broad brush. Everybody is not the same. America's don't
But that's
ain't
what
filled
we're
with the same type of
doing.
people.
But how about the argument that if you ban homosexuality or you ban transgender, a gay person will just find another homosexual on the street?
I
Do
don't
you
think we
see?
should be banning it.
Well,
We
that's what
should be
we're
banning
talking
it.
about. When you start telling children that they can't handle it and you're taking it off for cans of beer and things like that, what's the difference between doing that and banning it?
So why don't we just take kids to the strip club and let them watch the kids strip? Why don't we do that too? They should be able to
Well,
handle it. Why don't we just take
I,
kids down
I
to
knew
the
it.
go on and take them down to the gun range and let them shoot? You let them have. I mean, I think as adults we have to protect the minds of children until they get to a place where they can make decisions. And at that point, when you get to a place where your mind is mature enough to make a decision, then you are free. If you want to go cut off both your titties and sell them on eBay, go ahead. But as a child, you can't make that decision. You can't
I
make that
don't want.
decision as a kid. Do you
So
understand
we
what I'm
allowed
saying?
it. So we believe that the child can't make the decision. But what about this? What if the child talked to their parents and the parents felt confident that it was okay for the child after talking to their child? Would you be okay with it being
No,
done that way?
no, because children's mind change. I can tell you, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be Wonder Woman. I can't be Wonder Woman. Do you know how many times I've changed my mind since then? My mind is not the same at 13 as I was at 18, as I'm 21 now. I'm 50. I am not the same person as I was back then. And the decisions that I would have made back then, I would not make today. That's the same thing as getting a tattoo. Sometimes you might think it's cool to have two-headed dragon coming out your arm, but at 50 or 50-year-old woman, I might not think that's cool. But it's permanent. That's a permanent decision. Ain't nobody gonna be able to go pick up your boobs out the
But
trash
wait a
and sew
minute,
them back
you
on.
can, as a minor, with parental consent, you can get a tattoo. Hell, you can get married as a minor with
You
parental
can.
consent.
Yeah, and I don't agree with none of that. I think that these decisions should be related to when you're older, when your mind can handle it. And that's something that if we all just let people make decisions, it's like, we take children to church when they're little, but when they get older, they can decide that I don't want to be a Catholic anymore. I was raised Catholic. When I got older, I didn't want to be Catholic anymore. But that was a decision I was allowed to make when I was an adult. And it's not as serious as removing my body parts and throwing them in the trash and taking hormones to convert into something else. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, hey, why not wait till we all have a maturity level that your mind can process the
Yeah,
consequences and the
but why
benefits?
do you? But if you are on the right side of the aisle, what you're talking about sounds like big government. You got a parent and a child that makes a decision, and you want big government to override what the parent and child has come to and say, no, we're going to do it the government's way. You don't see a problem with
Absolutely
that?
not. Absolutely. I'm not for big government. I'm for moderate sized government. I think the government has a specific role. I don't think they should be making decisions for everybody, but I do think it's fair and just for a child to wait till they get their mind is mature to make life-changing decisions. And that's something that you cannot be reversed and something that cannot be just easily undone. I think they should wait to a place in their life where they are mature enough to make the decision and be able to be held accountable for the consequences and or benefit of that decision. That's all I'm saying. You can't walk into a bank and give a child a credit card because ain't nobody gonna go after a child for a credit card for charges. Why? They're not old enough
That,
to enter into a
okay,
contract.
okay. Last question, just because it's somewhat related. How do you feel about a woman's right to choose? A woman wanting to have an abortion. Are you okay with that?
I think I think everybody should mind their business that pays them. And if you ain't the one getting an abortion, let the people do what they're gonna do. That's between them and their God. I have nothing to do. I can only control one womb, which is mine. And so we shouldn't be legislating that. That's a part of healthcare. I am not. I am a pro-choice. I mean, I'm pro-choice, but I'm also pro-life. I believe that um, and I want to say it correctly because I don't want to say it in such a way that is vulgar or whatever. But if I'm not willing to pay for the babies that I'm demanding to come, they don't want to give you food stamps, they don't want to give you nothing, but they're demanding these women to carry babies. I can't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I believe that abortion is between the doctor, the mother, and God. I ain't getting none, but that's just me. You understand? And if everybody mind the business that pays them, then we ain't got no problems. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're gonna help these women with these babies that they bring in, and now we got kids that can't even go to school, can't eat or nothing. Why? Because the mama didn't want them in the first place. It's a problem that needs to be addressed on a level of the person.
Now we get to it. I got to move it on, but I got to move it on. But I will say in closing, I didn't expect you to answer that abortion comment that way after your strong approach on LGBT. But appreciate you coming in. Is this our first time talking?
No, I always try to get in your lives because me and you be vibing.
we definitely vibing that last 5 minutes of that. Absolutely. Our LGBT stance is totally opposite of each other, but your pro-choice stance is right up the alley with me. So come on back through. I always appreciate talking to you.
All right, you take care. Bye.
Absolutely. Very passionate approach in regards to the transgender, the issue that we actually are talking about. Now, her stance on pro-choice, pro-life issues was far more liberal, but her stance on LGBT was fairly conservative. Yeehaw! Appreciate the hat and mustache there, Heather. Thank you. Appreciate your generosity. Nevertheless, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 75,000 likes. This always is and will remain a MAGA-friendly program. We don't ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. That last call was good. I would have talked to her all night long. That was a good conversation. Definitely we had opposing opinions, but very articulate. I enjoyed that. All right, we'll keep it moving. I would never choose to get an abortion, but now I don't have that choice. Yeah, that is pretty much sums it up for women in a whole lot of states, particularly down south, is that they may never find themselves choosing to get abortion. Maybe they are completely pro-life, but now they know even if they thought about changing their mind, that option is no longer available. And by the way, for folks who talk about there for small government, that stuff is nothing but big government. You are using big government to interfere with choices of individual people. Going back to the box. We'll try it again this time with Shang B. For some reason, I tried to bring on a hell of a lot of callers, and I've been having problems with the app. So let's see if it works. Shang B, good afternoon.
Hello?
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I did not want to come to the box. I was just tapping the screen. I don't know how this happened.
Okay. Not a problem at all. I'll move it on, but definitely keep tapping the screen, and I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Looking in the comments, she was the best. Rick, yeah, she definitely, you're talking about my caller before last, yeah, Natasha, that was a really good call. By the way, folks, if this is what you like, civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without any fear of being blocked, banned, or censored, follow the program. As I say every day, all day, you don't have to agree with the host. The host doesn't know a damn thing more than you do. We just have differing opinions. And I will never silence you because you differ in regards to what you believe from yours truly. It's not about being a know-it-all or posing gotcha questions. It's about having civilized discourse with both sides of the aisle, and we can talk shit that way. That's all it's about, folks. Moving on in the box. We'll keep it going. I don't know if it's gonna work this time, but let's keep it try. Heavenly 7-7 does something. Yeah. Good afternoon.
Hi.
So I take it you've been listening in?
Just to the last woman that was here, and I completely agree with her on every aspect that she said.
Okay. So you agree that a child and their parents should not be able to make transgender decisions. The government should stop them.
So decisions, there should be a developmental stage. Children are not cognitively capable of making life-changing decisions that they cannot take back. So if a parent understands that, like if my child went through that, I'd discuss it with them. I would support them. Whenever they wanted to talk about it, but I would not make a life-changing decision for any kind of surgery, any kind of anything until they were at that age where they could make an adult decision for themselves. because there has been a lot of cases where children, like the parents go along with it and they make this, and the child who becomes an adult regrets it because that
So let me ask you this:
cognitive behavior.
I get your point that they may have buyer's remorse. I get what you're saying, but let's say, for instance, a 14-year-old girl decides to sleep with a classmate. She gets pregnant, and she talks to her parents, and they decide together to have an abortion. That is a life-changing decision, like you said, that she may later regret. Do you think she should be blocked from doing that?
No. So are we going to abortion or transgender? What are we talking about?
We're going to life-changing decisions that a kid might disagree with later on in life.
Yeah. It's so weird because for the abortion side of it, I was like, as a child, as a minor, I was completely against it because I was born, like, brought up in the Christian church, and it's so you're against it and it can't happen. You're evil if you do that. But my mind has since changed. But when it comes to the surgery of changing your gender, that they're probably not, that cognitive behavior, their mind is not right. But you brought up a good point for abortion at 14 years old also. They might regret it the rest of their lives at 14 if they did not have that child.
But you would still let them terminate the child, but you won't let them terminate their breasts.
At 14, for a child to terminate a child?
Yeah.
Honestly, so I have a 16-year-old daughter, and if she got pregnant, we would discuss it. Same as a transgender child. We would discuss it, even though honestly, with pregnancy, you only have 9 months. With transgender, you have longer than 9 months to make this decision,
I get your point. I get your point. The counterpoint I'm making, though, is you have more emphasis or problems with somebody mutilating part of a human body as opposed to destroying the entire life.
So here's my thing with that. Here's my thing with that. I don't have, it's not a problem when you say mutilate. It's not a problem if they can make that decision once they are capable of maturely making that decision. When you say destroying an entire life with the word abortion, I don't feel like you're destroying an entire life. Like, I legit right now at this point in my life, I was so against abortion, but I'm not now, because at this point in my life, I'm still physically capable of becoming pregnant. But I've got a 16-year-old and a 20-year-old, and I'm very high risk. If I got pregnant right now, both of my kids are like, no, Mom, we need you around. We support if you got an abortion. So it's not destroying a life. It's actually saving my 2 children's lives so that I can be around for them.
What I just don't understand is that you talked about not being in favor of letting a child make a gender transformation because it could really be regretted later on in life. But when I present the same regrets that could come from abortion, your tune is 180 degrees.
Yes.
I mean, having an abortion at a young age could destroy someone.
You have conflicted me. You're making me think deeper into other thoughts. So this is why we're having an adult conversation. You are definitely making me think in a different perspective with regards to that. And I will think about that. I will research it. I get myself into rabbit holes for research and looking into things and the feelings of other people. Because I'm a very outside the box. Yes, I'm a Make America Great Again person, but I'm also very outside the box. I look at everyone's thoughts and perspectives.
Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. In regards to the mentality of, say, a 14, 15-year-old, even younger, not being able to make those rash decisions, as you said, that they might regret. If a child at 13, 14 is too young to make a rash decision such as changing their gender, why do do we charge them as adults when they commit a major crime? If they are a kid, they're a kid. Well, all of a sudden, when they do something heinous, they suddenly become an adult all of a sudden.
So I think, did I make it work where my camera works?
No, I can't see you.
And
I
not
just see
my profile picture?
I just see your profile picture.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There we go. There we go.
You went into a whole different realm of things. Can you repeat that, please? Because I was trying to make my camera work.
I'll repeat it. And the reason I'm going into, as you say, a whole different realm of things is because I strongly believe we are changing things when it fits the narrative in which we want to go. Like with my last caller, I asked her, well, my last caller talked about how awful the LGBT lifestyle is for children to witness.
Yeah,
and I threw up all of the horrible stories out of the Bible. She suddenly had a different tune because the stories in the Bible are frightening. So all of a sudden, you know, seeing a dude dressed as a woman, to me,
Jews have been doing that since the beginning of time. So this it should be not. This should not be a surprise that dudes are attracted to other guys, or women are attracted like this. It happens. It's natural. We should not be forsaking them.
Wait, did you say dudes? Did you say dudes are attracted to other guys?
What? Since the beginning of time. Are you serious?
Most dudes or just a few? You're talking about just a few dudes, right?
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, but it's been happening since the beginning of time. I'm not saying
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Then if dudes have been attracted to,
be so awkward right now because it's like it's been happening forever. It's just been secret. Now,
well, one of the reasons why dudes being attracted to dudes is so awkward, even though, as you say, it's been happening since the beginning of time, is because of how much the Bible shamed it. In the Bible, which is not even the beginning of time, there was a time before the Bible. Yep. The Bible came along and treated these people as if they were going to burn in hell forever.
It could be. And like I said before I turned my camera on, is that I was raised on the Christian Bible shit, and my views have all changed. Becoming an adult and learning stuff for myself, my views have changed. I've like, one of my best friends is gay, and I'm like, he's the coolest fucking dude ever. And he's like, yeah, but you're a Christian. I'm like, I don't give a shit about that. I'm like, I still have good morals. I still have a good heart. I still have good values. But nah, you do you. It's good. But when it comes to that huge surgery, it's only because of other, like the college classes I've been through with like child development, that cognitive, your brain development. Don't jump the gun like so much a government does with laws and stuff like that. Don't jump the gun and let your child have this major surgery, separate from abortion, because you only have a certain time span to make that decision. But this life-altering, changing your gender surgery, let them grow up a little bit. Let me present it to you. I would still support them.
Okay, let me present it to you this way.
Yeah.
13-year-old wants to get gender reassignment surgery. You're against it. The government is against it. The parent is willing to give it to the child. But because of the government, it cannot happen. All of a sudden, let's say you are the official and you have the ability to make the decision.
Or the government?
No, you're the government. The parent has already came to you and you denied the parent on the grounds it's harmful.
Government involvement, yeah.
Okay. So let me ask it to you this way. You got a physician that says, this child came to us a year ago wanting to have this surgery. The law prevents it from happening. We've had 2 suicide attempts from this child. We believe this child at 14 knows that they identify as the opposite sex. They really want this. Would you lift it if the child was in danger of committing suicide?
That would involve a whole lot of therapy, not just a physician consultation. My daughter who's 16, when she was 4 years old, she told me, Mom, I never want to have a baby in my stomach. I was like, oh, shoot, that's a weird comment from a 4-year-old. She's like, I don't ever want to have a baby. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So she even told her pediatrician, I never want a baby in my tummy. And I don't bring it up one way or the other because she's her own self. At 16, now many years later, 12 years later, she's like, Mom, I don't want to have a kid. I'm like, I fully support that. But I'm not going to let her have a hysterectomy to prevent her from getting accidentally pregnant just because she doesn't want to have a baby.
But that is you talking to your daughter, somebody you brought up. You're not the government. Here's the question I want to ask. I got to move it up before I let you.
I have to flip a switch because you're going from the government side and I've been on the parent side the whole time.
Okay, well, let me ask you this before I let you go as a parent.
Yeah.
Why do you believe that the parent, that the government knows more about a child than the parent? If the parent and the child are talking,
I don't.
But you're giving them the ability to override the parent.
I agree with you. It's a very, very, very gray area. And I do agree with what you're saying. When I flip the switch to the government side, I am agreeing with you, but I feel like a lot of parents aren't as educated, and I'm not saying dumb or smart, I'm saying as willing to educate themselves as much as you or I, apparently, because you're a very smart person, to understand that as a parent, you have to help your child make this, like as a 12-year-old, I would, if my child requested gender change, as a parent, I am educated enough to discuss it with my child, go through the therapy, like let's make it through until you're 18, 19 years old, where you can all of this research and make a decision.
Listen to what you're saying. Wait a minute. Listen to what you're saying. Go through therapy till you're 18 or 19. You're not putting them in therapy. You're putting them in rejection therapy. I'm going to tell you
I would never put them.
Listen to what you just said.
It's not rejection therapy.
You just
said rejection. It's understanding.
You just said they're going to be in therapy until they're 18 or 19, which means you're not going to get the answer yes at all. I'm going to put you in front of a doctor, but the answer is no.
To help them through that age. Listen, my child is 16. Her dad just died, and they have a very estranged relationship, but she is still going through shit. She wants to see a therapist just to talk shit out. So when I say go through therapy, it is not negating therapy. It is to talk shit out, to help you work through it. And I promise you, if it was a therapist that was negating shit, I'd be like, peace, you're done.
Well, here's why I differ with you. You didn't just say therapy. You said till you're 18 or 19, which means I'm going to keep resisting by putting you in therapy till you're grown, and then you can do what you want to do.
Yes.
That is rejection therapy.
No. Oh, first of all, I am very against the word rejection therapy. I completely understand what you're saying. I am saying when that cognitive development is coming to an end, where they can make that decision. And I'm not saying that children, which I have a 20-year-old and he's still a fucking child, honestly. He thinks he's grown, but he's not. They still need their parents.
Let me interrupt you and say this.
I am not negative about this at all.
Let me interrupt you and say this. We know all children are not at the same level of maturity. They all come, but we're answering it with a one size fits all. You're not even judging these kids on whether some are mature enough to make the decision. We're just assuming they're all too immature.
I agree with you completely. We could have a 14-year-old who is way more mature than an 18-year-old, and they know this decision. They know what they want, and we want to prevent suicide. But it's the support system. If this child has that support system, I will be here for you. Let's just give it a couple years. And it's not the negating thing. It's the.
So let me ask you what you just said. Let's say they came to you at 14. You knew they were mature, and then at 16 they still wanted it. Would you allow them to have a gender reassignment surgery at 16?
I don't know, and here's why I don't know is because I'm not going through that. But what I am going through is my 16-year-old wanting to drop out of high school because she's not academically inclined. I'm like, let's make it through this year of high school, and I'll look into homeschooling. I'll look into whatever. There are decisions, and so where I completely agree with you is the separation of government and parenting. Is that this is a decision as for me as a parent, it's not a sex change, but it's my child wanting to, she is so sick of high school. She's depressed because of high school. She is losing her shit. But I'm like, let's make it through this year. So as a parent, I have made the decision. We have discussed it. Let's make it through this year. You do the best you can, and we'll discuss homeschooling, which is, I know, is completely different than gender change, but it kind of isn't. It's your teenager's mindset. Like, let's discuss it. Let's go through it together.
Well, I gotta move it on. I gotta move it on, Heaven. But in my opinion, if you already know that the child is at the end of the day, you're going to say no. I don't see any purpose of discussing it or waiting or therapy. At the end of the day, you're going to answer no matter how the therapy turns out. You're not going to let them do this until they're an adult.
I would not answer no matter how the therapy turns out.
So it's a possibility. It's a possibility. So you're saying it's a possibility you would let a child have transformation surgery?
Again, I'm not in that situation, so it's a very hard thing to discuss.
Is there any situation where you would let a minor have transformation surgery?
I don't know the answer to that right now. My answer is their brain development, and again, all children develop at different stages.
All right, Heaven, I got to move it on.
But you did give me stuff to think about.
Appreciate you coming in. Come on back to anytime. As I say, folks, I give you guys a chance to get your point across. Whether we agree or disagree doesn't mean anything. I enjoy talking with Heather. She's always welcome back on the program. In my opinion, I do believe there are some parents that the answer is no matter what. I don't give a shit how many doctors tell me that you're mature in your decision. I'm going to say no. Like, I do believe with the last caller, the answer is no. But I don't want to come out and say that because it looks bad. But I do believe that in her case, no matter what, the answer is going to be no until that child turns 18 or 19. As a parent, you have a right to make that decision. Just come out and say that. I don't think it helps the child out at all to drag them on when you know there is no hope, zero hope for this child to ever get what they want until they become an adult. Just tell them no. You got to wait till you're 18 and leave it at that. All that therapy and stuff like that is just going to cost you money and waste both you and the child's time. Not to mention, if you have a child that wants gender transformation surgery and you start sending them to therapy, you may find yourself on the wrong side of a therapist as well. Because they more likely are going to convince the therapist that they're ready. And now the therapist is also telling you what you're doing to the child is harmful. So just tell the kid no and avoid it, because therapists nowadays are going to value the opinion of a child a lot more than someone that's against gender transformation surgery. If that child is really in favor of it and they truly feel that way, a modern therapist can be convinced that they're mature enough to do it. That's why it's happening now in some cases. It's because modern therapists have a far more open mind than a lot of parents that are against this. So you start taking your child to therapy, and that therapist is going to be like, what you're doing to this child is harmful, and shit, you may run the risk of having child protective services. Because now the therapist is even looking at you like you're a bad parent. I don't know. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do with their children. I don't know all the damn answers. Like I said, I grew up in an anti-LGBT society. So I'm still trying to get my own self straight. Nevertheless, it's always a pleasure talking to you folks during lunch break. That's what this is, a lunch break live. Appreciate you tapping the screen. Got your boy up to 86,000 likes. Nevertheless, I do have to get back to work. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I got to go.